Hello community, through my time as a gamer I found that there are three types of game genres that most streamers and casual players seem to struggle with the most: racing games, fighting games, and stealth games. Due to the high difficulty and skill demanded of the player, most gamers quickly abandon them after a single playthrough, leaving the game with a niche audience of players that, although may not be as high in numbers, they make that up through pure passion. When it comes to the best fighting game currently available, I can't think of anything better than Mortal Kombat 11. No other game comes even close to the graphics, production quality, and overall gameplay experience with customization that MK11 is able to offer. When it comes to racing, Forza Horizon 5 reigns supreme with the best gameplay mechanics, gorgeous graphics, and customization. Some people may choose Gran Turismo 7, but because it just came out this year and is also not available on PC, it's very difficult to judge how well Gran Turismo is currently doing, and I decided to go with Forza instead. And when it comes to stealth games, no game whatsoever is able to reach Hitman 3. The stealth mechanics either match or straight up overperform any of its competitors in the stealth genre. Yet, with Arkham dead in the grave since 2015 and Assassin's Creed becoming a parody and a joke of what it was supposed to be, Hitman 3 is still struggling desperately to hold existing players and finds almost no luck in bringing new ones. As they say, the proof is in the pudding, and here's the pudding. This is what the Hitman 3 Steam charts currently look like. If we compare it to its colleagues in the racing category, this is what we get in comparison to Forza Horizon 5. As you can tell, the difference is huge. But let's take the racing category out, let's put Mortal Kombat 11 now. This is what it looks like next to Mortal Kombat 11, the best of the fighting games. As you can see, it's still severely behind. Mortal Kombat 11 came out in 2019 and still is able to overthrow Hitman 3. And you may be thinking, well, maybe the stealth category just isn't as popular as the racing category and the fighting games category. And that may be the case, but let's compare it to its rivals first. This is what it looks like next to Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. And this is the comparison. This is the peak players and the average players that it has right now in comparison to Hitman 3. As you can tell, it's not even close. Metal Gear is destroying Hitman. In comparison, let's switch it with Arkham Knight. This is the comparison, still well ahead of Hitman. Even though it's not a 100% stealth game, Arkham series has always been known for its very strong and very well developed stealth mechanics. And as you can tell, still very comfortably ahead. And if we compare it to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, well, it's even worse. Assassin's Creed Odyssey destroys Hitman completely. And you may think to yourself, well, maybe it's because Assassin's Creed and Arkham, they're just more notorious, they're just better known. But that's simply not true. When Hitman Blood Money came out, the most successful Hitman game ever made in 2006, the Assassin's Creed series hadn't even begun yet. The very first Assassin's Creed game came out in 2007. Arkham Asylum came out in 2009. Also, here's what happens when we look at the Twitch charts. Here's Hitman 3 and the release date. And for comparison, this is what Forza Horizon 5 looks like. This is what Mortal Kombat 11 looks like. This is what Batman Arkham Knight looks like from 2015. This is what Assassin's Creed Odyssey looks like from 2018. And then finally, Metal Gear Solid 5. As you can tell, Hitman 3 is losing in all regions, significantly nonetheless. And when it comes to notoriety, as I said earlier, Hitman came out before most of these games were ever even thought of. I can understand losing to its colleagues in different categories, but the problem is Hitman is losing in the stealth category to games much older than itself. And also, Hitman had a head start. It had a head start on both Assassin's Creed as well as Arkham, yet it cannot compete anymore. So the question becomes, what happened? What made it that one of the most notorious games back in the day became simply irrelevant today? Well, what if I tell you that Hitman 3 wasn't actually developed for 2021 and instead was developed all the way back in 2016? Because what IO did is they created their main game back in 2016 and decided that every game from there, Hitman 2 and Hitman 3, would pretty much be the exact same game with small gameplay improvements, new gadgets, new maps, and also some new game modes. As other games evolved with character customization, amazing stories, and multiplayer innovation, Hitman remained stagnant, slowing down and refusing to innovate. But the gaming industry didn't just freeze and wait around for IO to catch up. Gaming has evolved drastically since 2016. The importance of character customization, intriguing story modes, and multiplayer became a lot more important. Yet IO looked the other way. They decided to neutralize any new innovation or take any risk of changing things after their disastrous experience with Hitman Absolution. One of the biggest problems with current Hitman is character customization. Cyberpunk 2077 as well as Far Cry 5, both first-person games, have more character customization and better character customization than Hitman 3, a third-person assassin game. For crying out loud, Forza Horizon 5, a racing game where you pretty much never get to see your character, has more character customization options and better quality character customization than Hitman 3. It's embarrassing. And yet another big problem is that Hitman 3 is a single-player game that requires online presence at all times. Otherwise, you pretty much can't do anything. And now you can pretend all they want that the reason for that is some player experience bullshit. But in reality, the reason is so the game cannot be pirated. However, outside of punishing the pirates, you're also punishing the regular players. Not everyone has perfect internet connection, plus the servers aren't always stable, and even with perfect internet connection on your site, disconnects are bound to happen, and they're both immersion breaking and also really annoying. And it's not like there is no multiplayer content that can be done with Hitman. We saw in Hitman 2 we had Ghost Mode, where two players could go up against one another to assassinate targets. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, but it was fun. It was something that took advantage of the always online requirement. Yet in the supposedly better version Hitman 3, Ghost Mode is nowhere near to be found. So we're back to nothing when it comes to multiplayer. And the thing about a single player game is that eventually everyone tends to get bored of them. There is only so much you can do and unlock, only so many times you can play the same mission over and over again before you get burned out. IO made sure to fix that problem by shooting themselves dead square in the head with their brilliant idea for new content, the 7 Deadly Sins. A total of 7 escalations and suits with some gadgets that will be released one at a time every single month throughout 2021. There was only 2 problems with that genius idea. First of all, the vast majority of the suits unlocked as well as items were total garbage, and I can't say the escalations were that much fun to play either, but the much bigger problem, the one that damn near killed the game, was that they expected players to pay up to $30 for these awful, putrid, covered in shit garbage suits that looked like they were designed in a day by an underpaid intern high on prescribed amphetamines. And guess what happened? The vast majority of the Hitman community told IO to hold their DLC, go fuck themselves, and they left the game. While other independent studios like Yellow Games were releasing free DLC for their game No Man's Sky, here was IO Interactive spitting in the face of everyone who supported them, forcing everyone, including the Lux players, to buy their DLC, which, if I didn't mention by now, was the drizzling shits. And the results were as expected. The vast majority of players left and did not come back. I remember other YouTube content creators at the time who covered Hitman were openly talking about the fact that the viewership for the DLC was extremely small. People just weren't interested. Everyone was pretty much gone. IO, in less than a year, had already killed Hitman 3 by betraying their existing players and making an already niche audience that much smaller. So with the game close to that, IO decided to get off their asses and try something to see if they can get new players and some of the older players to come back. The Dartmoor Garden Show, Elusive Target Arcade, Freelancer, and most importantly Ambrose Island were all made free. A desperate attempt by IO to get new players from the Steam platform, as they released the Year 2 trailer only 7 days before the game came out on Steam. Previous IO would gladly screw their players and make almost all of that content paid DLC, yet here they were this time not only releasing it for free, but also giving players quality content. But please, don't mistake that act of goodwill as IO caring about the players. That is simply not the case here. The reason IO released it free is because they knew that if they made it paid DLC, they would get some buys from existing players, but other gamers who don't have the game yet, Steam players, wouldn't buy the game as much, and instead they would wait for all the content to drop and then buy the Ultimate Edition or Gold Edition on a discount and get all of the content at once instead of wasting a fortune on it by having to buy it one at a time. Which is exactly what happened to them back in 2016 when they did the episodic releases. Most players held back and waited for the whole thing. So by making the DLC free, IO gave a clear message to Steam players that it was safe to purchase the game, they would get all of the upcoming content for free, so they had no need to wait, they could buy it right away. Although that may have helped them out, the exclusive Epic Games release with the despicable microtransaction practices led many existing players to leave the game and not come back, and potential players on Steam who may have been interested to purchase the game at the time of release had other games they were excited for. So although IO's Year 2 reveal may have stolen the show for us, it was petty theft in the overall scheme of things. Hitman in a way has suffered the same fate Assassin's Creed, Far Cry and Call of Duty did, doing the same games over and over again with very little if any changes or evolution, which ultimately leads to the downfall. A fresh coat of paint, that's what Hitman seems to need, someone who isn't afraid to take risks and change things. I don't want to paint IO as a terrible company either, they've made some pretty horrible choices in the past, but recently they've tried their best. They're one of few developers that are currently trying to help Stadia players who are losing their progress over Stadia's shutdowns, while other developers with much more money, like Rockstar Games, are sitting around with their dicks in their hands, doing nothing to help their players in time of need. Hitman 3 is the final game of the trilogy, and honestly, outside of the gameplay features we're used to expect, nothing IO has done has been revolutionary or innovative in any way worth praising. Then again, with the Hitman trilogy coming to an end, they have the chance to make the next Hitman game any way they like. They can choose to be creative and launch themselves into the stratosphere of many players who weren't interested before, if they choose to evolve and add important modes like character customization, multiplayer, and are able to give good quality content. Or maybe they'll just do the same thing over and over again until there's simply no one left. Who knows, there's no way to tell in which direction IO will be pulled in the upcoming years. With IO switching to the new IP of 007, it will be interesting to see if the Hitman property will have the same effect as Assassin's Creed did with Prince of Persia. It's hard to say really. But the reason I'm so harsh when it comes to those missing modes is because in my opinion that's one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people don't give the game a chance, and the game absolutely deserves a chance and a much bigger audience. Hitman is more than just an average stealth game, it's a game where you constantly have to think and take advantage of the situation, either by using the opportunity that has just become available or by creating your own through thoughtful manipulation. It's a playground with countless possibilities that you can take advantage of. You can kill your target close and personal, use a sniper rifle from long range, or set up an accident kill for your target to walk into. Every playthrough can be different, every target can be handled in a variety of ways. You can choose the easy route of picking a disguise and getting an easy mission story kill, or you can challenge yourself to sneak shoot only. Never before has a stealth game given you so much opportunity to do whatever you want and make it work. I've played pretty much all stealth games you can imagine, from Assassin's Creed to Arkham and Splinter Cell, but no one comes close. Hitman is the pinnacle of stealth games, the best of the best. This is the type of game that has no right or wrong answers when it comes to how you want to approach the situations. In many different stealth games, there's only one route or one way of doing things, but in Hitman, especially if you decide to play shoot only, you pretty much have all the freedom in the world to do it any way you like. Now, of course, some routes are more optimal than others, but it's up to you to create new ones. It's one of the biggest things I've done with my channel up to this point, and although not easy, this is a game that rewards the time you put in it, and the amount of different routes and ways in which you can defeat your targets are damn near countless. It's just up to you to discover and master them. I can't recommend this game hard enough, because for all of its missing links, the one thing it gets right is perfect stealth gameplay. From all games I've played in the past, this is the one I keep coming back to, and I'm sure everyone who's given it the proper chance does the exact same thing. It's a game that allows you to do anything as long as you're skilled enough to make it happen. So if you're someone watching the video who doesn't play Hitman, I will say this: consider giving Hitman 3 a chance, especially now that the price has dropped and Freelancer is right around the corner. I promise you, you will not regret it. If you enjoyed, please do drop a like, subscribe for more content. Thank you very much for watching.